I'm totally shocked. There's the 70-30 rule. Look for yourself. They work 100%. Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Is this on? Hi, if everyone can just take their seats. I know we're waiting for a couple more, but we kind of thought we should get started. Oh, this is going to spill. It's not beer, it's apple juice. Although I wish it was beer. I really do wish it was beer. Thank you for coming, everyone, to celebrate my mom's life. Oh, wait. Whew. Thanks especially to everyone who traveled, came today. Thank you for coming such a long way. For all of those who are on the overseas or wherever they're, oh, this isn't fun. Whoever might be watching from far away. A few things first. Our family would like to ask you to join us after the service for light lunch and a beverage. There will be a cash bar open after the service. It's cash only, but there is an ATM. And just so you know, the bartender is volunteering tonight, so tipping is encouraged, please. We weren't really sure about the bar, but then we thought, well, I think my mom, of all people, would love if everybody had a toast with her heart in your mind when you have a toast. When I was writing this, I was thinking back about Mom, and I thought, she was always so happy. She had such a good outlook on life. I don't ever remember her being mad. And then I thought again, no, that's not true, because that damn wooden spoon came out way more often than it should have. But seriously, my mom really did have the most wonderful outlook on life. She faced everything in a positive way. She didn't take life too seriously, and she lived her whole life that way. She smiled all the time. She had a beautiful smile, quick to laugh, and she loved a good prank. More than anything, she loved a good prank. Mostly, she loved with all her heart. Her family was the most important thing to her. And we were all so happy that she found the love of her life in Bob. Turns out He was as much of a prankster as she was. So we thought that's a match made in heaven. And now they're back together again because she missed him so much. I felt loved my whole life. Well, except when she saw Gary, then she practically swooned. And it became very clear that Vicki and I were merely going for second and third. We knew the favorite was right away. I will miss our many times on the deck, the football games, and I'll even miss being beaten in crib almost every time. I still think she cheats. She might have to answer to that upstairs. So we have a few things. We have Zach is going to read some messages from people who weren't able to make it today, and then we'll carry on from there. It won't be me all day. Zach?
Hello, everyone. A little taller. This first one's from Keith Thomas. I imagine we all know Keith, father of Donna, Gary, and Vicki, and a large part of Martha's history. To all my family, today marks a milestone for our family as well as we all pay tribute to a wonderful wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, Martha Cummings. For all of us, it will be a day of fond remembrances and also sadness for our loss. While I cannot be there with you at the remembrance ceremony, I will be there in spirit and share in all your emotion. Martha was a special person in all our lives and will always have a fond place in our memories. I hope you can all be reassured by her passage to a better place with God. All my love and support goes out to you on this day and forever as we all adjust to life without her. Love, Keith, Dad, Grandpa, and Great-Grandpa. This next one is from Paul Funk, Martha's brother, commonly known as Uncle Paul. Martha and I were very close as we were growing up. We learned to trust one another at a very early age. As youngsters, we were known to get into a bit of trouble occasionally. When we got into trouble together, it was usually her fault, as she was older, and I always remained a very innocent boy. However, if either one of us did get into trouble, Martha and I always stuck together and covered up for one another. She was the one sibling that I could trust. When we were 12 and 14, we conquered the art of smoking. We would steal a bit of tobacco from our dad's pouch, then we'd fluff it up to make it seem like it was still full. We were given money for a Sunday school donation. However, we felt it would be much better for the economy if we spent the money on tobacco. We pooled the money from our Sunday school allowance and bought a package of tobacco. In Martha's early dates, she was dating Sonny Adamson, who our parents did not approve of as she was not allowed to see him. However, she would set up a date with him. Before he arrived, Martha and I set up a ladder to the second floor window, and with my help, she climbed out of the window, made her way down the ladder, and when Sonny went to jail for 6 months for stealing gas from a farmer, Martha patiently waited for him. However, after his stint in jail, he became a nice gentleman, but she gave up waiting for him. After her stint with this dude, she married Keith Thomas, who our family were very fond of. Martha and Keith had 3 wonderful children, Vicki, Donna, and Gary. She was a very proud mother and became a great grandmother. Throughout the years, Martha and I remained very close. We always found time to visit each other or talk on the phone. I miss you very much, Martha. Your loving brother, Paul. Thank you.
Back down here. So on Mom's 81st birthday, a bunch of people, lots of you who are in the audience today, wrote messages to my mom for her 81st. So some of our family's going to read them today. I just thought I'd read this one from one of her best friends in New Zealand. Whew. I suck at this. Okay, for anyone who knew my mom always had these weird sayings. No thanks, I just had an onion. don't know what that means. All these kinds of weird things that she'd say. And we laugh and joke with them. For some reason, her best friend, she started calling her Murgatroyd. I don't know why, but it's like Heavens to Betsy Murgatroyd or something. I don't know. But it stayed, and eventually it actually got shortened to Murg. So this is my message from Murg, because she obviously is in New Zealand and can't be here. This is what she wrote. Hello, my best friend ever. I clearly remember when we first met each other. There I was trying my pathetic best to skate on the ice in our backyard for the first time ever in my life. I got that puck into the net and then clumsily went flying in right after it, which of course caused the net to crash right on top of me. In the silence, I lay there on the ice, completely entangled. I clearly heard cackling behind me, so I turned around to see you, doubled over with laughter, camera in hand. A great beginning to my best friendship. There were so many fun times, especially when we all drove our motorhomes to the lakes and spent endless hours swimming, water skiing, drinking, eating, and singing around the fire while Keith played his guitar. Thank you so much, Martha. You were such a great friend. Another very big highlight, of course, was your wonderful marriage to Bob. I was very proud and happy to be your bridesmaid. I miss you, my awesome friend. Okay, now I'm done. So some of our kids are gonna come up and read from some of those posts in her 81st birthday. So I'm gonna call the girls up, Megan, Krista, and Kelsey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Krista. I thought it was funny as I was getting ready today when we put together our memories of Martha on her 81st birthday. I was told my whole life that Bob couldn't read or write, which I always thought was just wild. So I didn't ask him to write one in that. And then the day that we gave it to her, I was told that he can read and write. I don't know. So there wasn't even one from him for us to read. But this one is, oh, I'm shaking. Anyway, from my mom. Anyway, maybe I should start with the last part. No. Okay, you're the one person that has always accepted me exactly as I am and always supported all that I did. You are someone that I truly admire. Okay, this is going to be hard. Your positive attitude, kind nature, and loving personality is what attracts people to you, and it makes me love you so much. Okay, it's not all sad. Okay, growing up, we moved to a new place almost every year because every move was a promotion for Dad, and you were forced to put your dream of becoming an RN on hold at every stop. Eventually, it was just not possible. You made a very big sacrifice for our family. Of course, at the time, I had no idea what you were giving up. As an adult and mother, I now know how selfless you are. Thank you, Mom. Also, no matter where we lived, no matter how much grief us kids gave you about moving, you always made a simple home into our home. You always worked as a nursing attendant, but you were the Avon lady on the side. It gave you a chance to make new friends wherever we lived. I just want to talk about a few random memories that stand out for me. You were always on the phone for very long periods of time. My main memories are of you sitting in the kitchen chair, pulled up to the phone that's against the wall, knees into your chin, puffing a smoke and talking a lot, rolling your own smokes at the table. You had your machine that you filled with tobacco, and it had a slicer to cut the long cigarette into 4 smokes. I loved helping you. You had to tap, tap, tap. You had to tap, tap, tap the tobacco down too. Some of you understand that. We were always peeling potatoes. I remember when you taught me to peel with a paring knife. Felt pretty good. What a talent. You were always perched on the high stool. We were always perched up on the high stool, hunched over the sink. Seemed like I peeled potatoes every day. When Dad was out of town, we got to sleep in your bed with you. It was really fun. You would always start a laugh attack, and we would just laugh at each other laughing. What a great memory. I love to laugh, and I got that from you. You always loved to giggle and to joke around. You never took yourself too seriously. Not a lot of people have that fun-loving attitude. You enjoyed playing cribbage, Yahtzee, and always watched Another World. You got me hooked on it as a teenager. You and Diane, Donna, and I, we never missed it. You loved to dance and sing. Of course, group singing was always a must in our family. You were the harmonizer quite often. My favorite memories are singing with you to this day. We spent our life camping together, from the open road motorhome to the motorhome that you and Bob had. There was nothing better than taking off and camping together. From skidooing to boating, we did it all together. You loved a good party. You threw a good party. You kind of were the party, so we all had to party. Dan and you making dampers on the open fire, so messy but so delicious, like a fresh bun on a stick smothered in butter. You never taught us how to make it. While we're on the subject of food, you're a great cook. It's always been a treat to eat your dinner, and I can't forget to mention butter tarts and naleshniki. Washing all the walls in the house every spring, it was so much work. I never understood why I had to do that. They seemed clean to me. I guess it's all the smoking in the house. Yes, that makes sense now. At Christmas, you were always bringing patients from your work home for Christmas dinner. There was always some random person that we didn't know or barely knew at the table. As a kid, it was kind of uncomfortable, but you always insisted because these people had no family, and you said nobody deserves a Christmas, or said everyone deserves a Christmas. Now I know how noble that was. You're the best. You love to garden and suntan with baby oil and not sunscreen, read, and just sit in the sun. Luckily, we have the sunniest place on earth, perfect for you. Remember Donna and I ran the Hermitage Drink Shack, selling hot chocolate and candy? We did that for many winters. We were always at a rink for Gary's hockey, no indoor until he got older, so we were freezing beside the boards and cheering him on. Even the indoor rinks later as a child were just as cold. Anyway, Mom, you've always been a very hard worker, a great nurse, and a very warm, loving mom. I've always loved to look at you, Mom, to be so sweet. I love to look at you. Can you read that part? It's right there.
I have always loved to look at you, and I still love looking at your beautiful smile. Your twinkling eyes and your pretty face always warms my heart. I'm very proud to be your daughter. I can only hope to be half the amazing woman you are. You have raised a great family, and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren are just as proud of you as I am. I love you. I treasure you.
Well done.
Okay. Oh, God. Okay. I'm reading what my mom wrote as well. My mom, my biggest supporter and cheerleader, my confidant, my mentor, my honest opinion, my friend. How do I start to write what my life has been like with you? So many experiences, so many laughs, so many tears, and so much fun. Mostly, I just remember you always being there for everything, and I mean everything. Let me go way back. Night shifts. You worked a lot of nights. Like grandma, like granddaughter. I dreaded it when I had to lay down for a nap in the middle of the day. I was never tired. I would lay there while you slept. I remember sliding so very slowly off the end of the bed to get up, but if you woke up, back to bed I went. Later, we could stay up, but not leave the house. One time I could hear the ice cream man coming, and I knew you kept a container of change on the top of the fridge, so I climbed up and took the money for ice cream. I don't think you ever knew, but I do carry that guilt to this day. You must have instilled some strong values. I never did it again. Perms. The perms and rollers and hairdos, so many of them. This was, of course, after you stopped the pixie cuts. You and our Auntie Helen would put rollers in for pictures days, and voila, big hair, small head. Auntie Helen and Auntie Carol were both hairdressers, so I remember lots of kitchen time with rollers, perms, or pin curls. We didn't have the nice, soft pink rollers of today. Oh no, we had the spiky ones like a hairbrush, with a stick to hold them in, after they gouged your scalp putting it in. What we didn't do for beauty. I do remember always thinking you were so glamorous. You always had beautiful hair and clothes. I don't think I can talk about my childhood without talking about brownies, Girl Guides, and Rangers. You were always my leader for brownies and Girl Guides. We marched, crafted, collected badges, and sold so many cookies. We camped. You were always there with me. I remember one rainy camping weekend, I was trying to get my leadership badge and had to get up before anyone in my tent, make a fire, and cook breakfast for my tent and one leader. Well, the damn wood was so wet, I couldn't do it for 3 days. I finally did make the shittiest burnt breakfast of all, but you were so happy for me, and you ate it with a smile. As long as I can remember, you've had a garden wherever possible. I sure didn't like having to weed them, but come harvest, there's nothing better than shelling peas and eating them straight from the garden. Let's just say we have pulled a lot of weeds together, picked a lot of vegetables, dug a lot of potatoes and carrots, and enjoyed every minute, almost, of it. Canning. I've learned so much from you over the years about canning. We've made so many beet pickles. We have canned just about everything, including peaches, pears, cherries, plums, everything. We've made so many jams of every kind. I have loved all those moments together. Thank you for teaching me this skill and giving me the chance to get to spend that awesome time together. I remember watching you dance at the parties and dances we went to. I loved watching you dance. You were awesome and beautiful to watch. I learned to love to dance too because it was always in our family. I for sure remember sneaking down to the parties on Harrow Circle. We had to wait for the right moment where you, or usually your friends, would see us on the stairs and say, okay, come on down. Then soon there would be dancing on the bottom floor, and we loved it. You were always, always, always a good sport and loved to have fun. I have so many memories of goofy hats, funny faces, crazy costumes, etc. You were always up for an adventure. You were so good with sewing Halloween costumes, dance outfits, clothes, etc. I know you cut up your wedding dress for costumes for us. There were dresses you made for the Wizard of Oz play we were in, and we wore those dresses for a long time until they were too short to be dresses. I have also had the privilege of traveling with you. We've gone to Europe, Paris, Spain, France, Germany, cruised the Bahamas, and been to El Salvador. We have had so much fun traveling the world, meeting new people, and sharing lots of fun. Your sense of adventure and confidence with new people and new things is wonderful. You are amazing. Our family has always been the most important thing for you. You have taught us the importance of family. It is because of your love, flexibility, and undying patience that we are such a very close family. I love you so much, Mom. Thank you for a lifetime of happiness, support, and love.
So I'm going to read a poem today. A wife, a mother, a grandma too. This is the legacy we have from you. You taught us love and how to fight. You gave us strength. You gave us might. A stronger person would be hard to find, and in your heart you were always kind. You fought for us all in one way or another, not just as a wife, not just as a mother. For all of us, you gave your best, and now the time has come for you to rest. So go in peace, you've earned your sleep. Your love in our hearts will eternally keep.
Hello, that's lots of people. Alrighty, I am Donna's son and Grandma's favorite. Despite recently printed out T-shirts at Christmas. So I'm just going to start off by saying good morning this morning, lovely morning this morning. If we had as lovely this morning, we'd have a lovely morning every morning. Thank you everyone for being here today for Grandma. Also known as Queen Bee. That nickname could not be more accurate. Grandma truly was a queen of a very busy hive of kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids, and she ran it effortlessly. When we went to El Salvador as a family, everyone extended as well, she had us all fetching wine for her. I don't think she made a single drink the entire trip. We were happy to do so because we knew that she had already spent a lifetime doing it for us. She was always up for a visit and a drink, and there was never a time limit. You'd stop over thinking you had a half hour, and before you know it, the whole evening was gone. Reflexes. Not sure what's going on there. There we go. Time would just seem to disappear at Grandma's house. One of my favorite stories about Grandma and Grandpa Bob was it never mattered what time you called. Danny and I finished up playing hockey at Grand Trunk right around midnight. I figured that's a pretty appropriate time to call my grandmother. See if she was up. She said, yes. Want to come by? Next thing you know, Danny and I are sitting at their house on the front porch having beers until 2 a.m. Completely normal. And that's very true with Grandma. Speaking of hockey games, I think it's safe to say we've all had the same number one fan standing in the stands. And while that sounds nice, it comes with a cowbell. For a woman who was sometimes quiet, Grandma somehow always managed to be the loudest person in every rink. that cowbell never stopped. You'd hear it echo through the arena and immediately think, yep, that's ours. She rang it with confidence too, no hesitation, absolutely no shame. Sometimes a whole period would go by and you'd start to relax and lean back, think maybe she forgot it at home. Maybe we're in the clear. And then, ring-a-ding-ding, loud, proud, and right on cue. She came to as many games as she could, faithfully cheering us on, cowbell in a hand, making sure everyone in the building knew who she was there for. And while we may have sunk a little lower into the bench, pretending that we didn't know her, deep down we loved it. Because having Grandma in the stands, cowbell and all, made those games feel special. And honestly, no one ever wondered if we had support. She made sure of that. She loved having family and friends around. Being together was her favorite thing. She always had time for people, and she always made you feel welcome. Her door and fridge was always open, and you never felt like you were in the way. I'd be remiss if I did not mention the countless Dollarama trips. She loved Dollarama. Every time when she was watching us, there was always a trip. She would give us $5 and let us buy whatever ridiculous thing we wanted. Then we'd go back to her place and play with whatever silly toy we picked out, and it was the best time. Between Dollarama trips, garage sales, and endless games of 31, those overnighters were some of the best times. My grandma was truly just lovely. That's the word that I think fits her best. Lovely. She was the cornerstone to our family and a natural leader, even if she didn't think of herself that way. She will be missed. I hope we can honor her in the way that she would want by gathering together, having a glass of boxed, terrible white wine. Or, if you're not into wine, you can have a rye and water with 2 fingers of water. Laughing about how lucky we are to have her. I love you, Grandma. I hope you're somewhere comfortable now, sitting in a blue velvet chair, enjoying a nightcap, and keeping an eye on all of us. Thank you again for everyone being here today. See you later, alligator.
It's over there. You should ring it. You should ring it. Give it a ring. Give it a ring. Let everyone.
Hers was actually even bigger than that.
Let everyone have it.
Shoot!
She had a way bigger.
So we're gonna, my sister-in-law or her daughter-in-law, Pam, would like to say a few words now.
Okay, I need participation, and Blair and I should have got together before we wrote our speeches. Okay, you guys all know it. Good morning this morning. Lovely morning This morning. If every morning was as lovely as this morning, then every morning, love it. I'm actually so surprised that we are celebrating Martha so early this morning, as she usually would not be up at this hour. I'm Pam Thomas. I'm married to Gary Thomas, obviously. I met Martha Thomas in late 1990 in my first nursing attendant job at Capital Care Norwood. Oh, sorry, is it? Sorry. Can you hear? Yeah, okay. She worked as what we now call a healthcare aide, and I was a young nursing student who worked with her in the same capacity. We became good friends over a lot of coffee and cigarettes in our dungeon of a smoke room in the creepy sub-basement of an old building that no longer exists. She would always be crocheting something for somebody. In later years, she explained she was making dollhouse furniture for one of the granddaughters. And that Bob was building, and I'm a little bit out of chronological order, but anyway, it'll make sense. And that Bob was building a dollhouse. It was a very simple, but a lot of love went into every piece. My daughter Kelsey is also a proud owner of one of these dollhouses. Martha was so proud of her kids and her grandkids and talked about them all the time, such that when I met them, I felt that I already knew them. After becoming an RN, Martha and I continued to work together in long-term care. 2 North, there's people here that remember that. I think I learned more from her than anyone else, including to always warm up body lotion in the sink so that the patients didn't get cold after their evening bath. One year we had a patient named Pearl, and I feel free to use first names. They're all passed away, so is that okay? Yeah. We had a patient named Pearl who particularly liked Martha. She had the same sense of humor, and we soon noticed that her son Bob was visiting more often, especially in the evening, which was always Martha's shift. We later learned that Pearl had single-handedly set them up. I watched their love bloom over the years at work as he would come for her supper break, and sometimes I would join them outside in the nice weather in the garden. Unfortunately, Pearl passed not too long after that, but she would have been so happy that they stayed together and eventually got married. 1995 brought big changes to Norwood as the regional palliative care team was formed. It was a huge learning curve for us compared to working in long-term care. Navigating a new program in itself was extremely difficult for us, and our new team had to bond very quickly. Because our program wasn't as finely tuned as it is today, we had some patients that stayed for up to 2 years. Martha and I and other staff became very close to some of the patients, usually the same ones. Despite the fact that other people, including family, thought that palliative must be such a depressing place to work, Martha made it light and even fun at times with her wit. Any breath. Her wit and amazing sense of humor. She was always asking a patient if they were far from pooping. A few of us socialized outside of work. We laughed together, we cried together, because you could only know what we went through as a team when you worked there. I remember around 1996, I found out that Martha's mother-in-law had passed away. She was so devastated. She took a long leave of absence, and I was very worried that she wasn't going to return to palliative. I talked to her, and she said she was scared that she wouldn't be able to continue to work with dying patients because it reminded her of her mother-in-law. I thought to myself, wow, that must be some kind of amazing mother-in-law. Grandma Thomas, of course. By all accounts, she was, and Martha herself later became that mother-in-law to me. Oh, I'm sorry. In early 1997, she called me up one Sunday asking me to go for a drink. I thought it was weird, and I had to work a night shift that night, but I thought, well, I can go at noon and have a drink and get a nap and go back to work. So I asked her where she wanted to meet, and she said in Winterburn. And then I said, well, Winterburn, like, you live north, but I live far south. Like, this is weird. Why are we, at a hockey arena. And by the way, my son's playing hockey there. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. So I thought to myself, why not? I was single and kind of lonely at the time. I was certainly surprised to see both of his sisters magically appear there. They still tell me they didn't know, but I know. It was doubly awkward to have to watch the game without really being able to see the players' faces. Obviously, things worked out, and I know this pleased her to no end to have played matchmaker, as Bob's mom had done. We had a patient in palliative named Vern who came across as very cranky, but he soon warmed up to both Martha and me. He lived much longer than expected, and we cared for him for over 2 years. We also became really good friends with his wife, Sylvia, who stayed with him 24/7. She was so kind to all of us, making us fresh cinnamon buns on weekends, telling us it was so inappropriate, but she would say, before You go for coffee, bring your coffee to the room, and she'd give us a shot of Bailey's. She made fresh cinnamon buns on weekends, cooked huge, delicious turkey dinners for the staff who had to work holidays, and invited family members that happened to be on the unit. We became quite close to Sylvia, and we socialized outside of work. Also inappropriate nowadays. So Vern, he preferred to be bare-chested at all times, so Martha made him a red vest, and it was really ugly, actually. And she made him wear it for Christmas. She was always dressing up in costumes for Halloween, wearing silly masks, trying to get she had a particularly gross old man mask, and trying to get the patients to guess who she was. In late 1997, after Gary and I got engaged, we moved to a rental house near Martha's to save money for our wedding. By this time, I had moved to nights while she stayed on evenings. I knew her schedule, so I would pop by quite often. She always had coffee on, which would later inevitably turn to wine. We would sit on the lawn or on the porch talking about nothing and everything, giving me gardening tips. We'd look at recipes together for hours. It was not uncommon for me to have to call Gary at work to stop by to pick me up, as maybe we had one too many bottles. That was followed by her insisting that we stay for dinner no matter what she had planned or not planned. It often consisted of delicious veggies from her amazing garden. I know she purposely also waited until I came over to deadhead her flowers. When Gary and I married, I inherited this amazing family. And I inherited this amazing family that she and Keith created, the Camgys. When my kids were born, she was so excited. She was so excited to have a baby, as her other grandkids were a little bit older and it had been a while. She also loved Bob's grandchildren and treated them as her own. I think she was even more excited when the greats started coming along. Work was never the same when she retired, but she had worked so hard for her family. She certainly deserved it. I was happy to see her and Bob enjoy life without work and spending time with her family and her grandkids. All these grandkids that are here today will tell you that they were taught to gamble at a young age with her money from the jar in the fridge, and that one was never to miss the meat draw on Fridays at the Legion, even if she had the kids with her. I soon learned that she was the life of the party, dancing in someone's kitchen until it was very late, and then never wanting to go to bed, insisting on a nightcap. Clearly, that KMG is shared by her kids and her grandkids. I feel so grateful because I feel like she picked me, at first as a friend, and then as a daughter-in-law. I always cherished her first for her friendship, and always had a special relationship outside of the family. When my own mom died, I always felt that she was there for me as a second mom. I hold dear to my heart all of the family dinners together. She always even had treat bags for the grandkids, even they were grown up. I will forever make a nalishniki that she taught me to make. It became difficult to communicate with her in recent years, but she still always wanted to be at the party. She created a lifetime of memories for all of us to hold. I'm grateful to have known this wonderful, spicy, prank-loving woman for 35 years. Martha, I hope you're at peace with Bob, with him having endless Budweisers, and you having a box of wine that never runs out. Continuing to cheat at crib, and that every day is sunny. I love you, Mama. Rest well.
That's it for the speeches, I think. Thanks, Pam. Thank you guys for all your speaking. We're going to just have a slideshow here. We're just going to take a minute to get it set up. We'll be turning the lights down so you can see it better.
Gathered here with broken hearts, but full of love tonight. The way you held us through the years still shines a guiding light. You taught us how to laugh and dream, to stand when we fall down. And though you've gone, your love remains. It's everywhere around. Thank you, Mom, for every kiss, for every lullaby, for holding us through stormy days, for teaching us to try. And though we have to let you go, your memory carries on. We'll love you now forevermore. Thank you, Mom. Your hands were gentle, strong, and kind. They showed us how to live. Your heart was always open wide. You had so much to give. And even in our darkest days, your voice will see us through. Close our eyes and hear you say, I'll always be with you. Thank you, Mom, for every kiss, for every lullaby, for holding us through stormy days, for teaching us to try. And though we have to let you go, your memory carries on. We'll love you now forevermore. Thank you, Mom. One day we'll meet beyond the sky, where tears are washed away. Until that time, we'll keep your love. It lives in us each day. Thank you, Mom, for every kiss, for every lullaby, for holding us through stormy days, for teaching us to try. Your love's the song that never ends. The melody goes on. We'll carry you within our hearts. Thank you, Mom.
We took the supermarket flyers from the windowsill, threw the day-old tea from the cup, packed up the photo album Matthew had made, memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals, poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down, but Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up, but I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah, You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, you'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluff the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in a case.
Queen bee.
John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, you'll say hallelujah, you're hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, he said hallelujah, you're home.
You gave me a drawer in your kitchen. You gave me the room with a view of the yard. Whatever the hurt, you knew right where to kiss it. You gave me the best of your heart. And you carried my rocks in your pocket. Flowers and feathers and butterfly wings. You had an answer for all of my questions. You showed me wonderful things. I know that it hasn't been easy. I hope that I love like you do, 'cause I know that this world would be better if everyone had a mother like you. You make the best macaroni. We never cared that it came from a box. And Mom in the stands always clapping her hands, started cheering and still haven't stopped. And you held me when I came home crying, 'cause someone said something that just wasn't true. I always said that Janelle was my best friend, but really, it's always been you. I know that I haven't been easy. I hope that I love like you do, 'cause I know this world would be better if everyone had a mother like you. Mother like you. Our second was born in September. I still can't believe I have kids of my own. I look in their eyes and I can't help but wonder, who will they be when they're grown? I know it won't always be easy. I hope I can love like you do, 'cause I know that my kids will be better if they have a mother like you. If I am a mother like you, 'cause I had a mother like
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you.
I actually found a recording of that song. I actually didn't know it was an actual real song. I thought my mom made it up all those years. Well, that's it for the service. Thank you all for coming. Megan's mother-in-law sent a message just to say, this is well, cheers to a life well lived and a life well loved. So, miss you, Mom. Hope you're up there with Bob having a ton of fun. So help yourself. They'll be setting lunch. Help yourself to a drink. I think she'd enjoy if you, as Bob always said, want a beer? And what Mom always said is have a wine, or like Brett Blair said, a Ryan water if you so choose. But have whatever you want. There's a cash bar. Thank you, guys.
Whatever it is, it's not true. Do you still race?
Attention, the lunches are now ready if you'd like to come and help yourself.